This is not a joke. Drake has just been exposed for stealing songs on his brand new album, Iceman.
I was listening to Iceman and Drake. You got me fucked, bro. Drake was hitting me up around the time and wanted to hear music, a Drake producer. So I sent 10 songs to him, and they was all finna be on my album because I didn't want nobody to steal my shit. I know how people move. So, boom. The one they took a liking to was the intro. I just went and listened to Iceman, and I listened to Little Birdie, and then I went back and listened to the intro on my first album. Twin. That's the only beat I've ever produced and sat there and produced. Don't rip my shit and repitch it like that, fam. That's fried.
Drake's new album run is getting cooked, and even his core fans sound exhausted.
As you guys just saw from the way things are looking, things are not looking good for Drake, as he is now being accused of stealing a song on his brand new album, Iceman, from another rapper. Now, these accusations are specifically coming from the upcoming artist 1900 Rugrat, with him accusing Drake of stealing his song idea to then apply it to his song on Iceman called Little Bird.
For over a decade, Drake operated like the safest bet in music. Even when people mocked him online, the numbers always backed him up. But this latest run of albums looks desperate. The criticism isn't even coming from Kendrick Lamar fans anymore. The casual Drake listeners and longtime supporters are starting to sound tired. After dropping 3 projects together, the reaction online has been brutal. Fans across social media called the albums bloated, repetitive, uninspired, mid, and emotionally empty.
So y'all ain't gonna tell Drake his new album ass, booty juice, dumpster juice. If I'm being honest, we could've got a new Future album. And I'm keeping it completely honest. Everybody on this album line about Drake album. He got about 2, 3, maybe 4 good songs on the album. But all the rest of it sound exactly the same. Why y'all never get on Drake ass about having the same goddamn flow? Y'all told the baby that he got the same flow. Y'all told Z and L that he got the same flow. Y'all done told everybody but Drake. Y'all must be scared of this or something.
Critics made similar points too, arguing that Drake is flooding the market with quantity instead of quality. The Washington Post described the strategy as flooding the zone, basically suggesting Drake is releasing so much music that none of it feels important anymore. Sure, Iceman performed decently and had enough momentum to generate headlines for one day, but the other 2 projects reportedly couldn't even crack 30 million first-day Spotify streams each, which is shocking for someone who used to dominate the platform effortlessly. For most artists, those numbers would still be massive, but for Drake, they're a warning sign. This is the same man who constantly compares himself to Michael Jackson, but he's out here doing rookie numbers on his other 2 projects. The Kendrick Lamar beef made everything worse for sure. Ever since Not Like Us exploded culturally, Drake's public perception has shifted heavily online. Outside of his die-hard fan base, a lot of people genuinely believe Kendrick damaged his aura permanently. That's why many critics now describe Drake's remaining hardcore supporters as the same people still insisting Kendrick somehow lost the battle, despite the overwhelming public narrative saying otherwise. People think Drake is oversaturating himself while sounding increasingly disconnected creatively.
I just think he needs to take a step back here, remind himself what music's all about.
Instead of reinventing himself, critics argue he keeps recycling the same themes, flows, and detached luxury rap energy that no longer hits the same in 2026. Then there's the UMG situation. Reports and industry speculation continue suggesting Drake wants out of his deal with Universal Music Group, especially after ongoing tensions around contracts, rights, and the fallout from the Kendrick battle. He tried to sue them for losing a beef, after all, and he lost that too. But people close to the business side keep pointing out it's probably not as simple as just delivering albums. Drake's deal reportedly involves broader revenue obligations tied to touring and other business commitments, not just a fixed number of releases, which means flooding the market with projects may not automatically free him anytime soon. Bro just can't catch a break. Drake currently looks like someone trying to outrun decline by releasing more music. The problem is, fans can feel that desperation now, and it's not looking good. Now, Christopher Nolan's Odyssey casting drama has turned into a fully blown hypocrisy debate.
The film sees very much the way the eye sees, and particularly the way it sees color, the way it sees grays and blacks and whites and everything. It's a really good way of approximating the way our eyes see it.
Nolan is defending the casting choices in his upcoming adaptation of the Odyssey, but the backlash online is getting louder by the day. The controversy exploded after rumors and reports surrounding the cast suggested that Lupita Nyong'o would play Helen of Troy, while Elliot Page, who used to be Ellen Page, was rumored to be portraying Achilles. The 5 supporters of this decision praised the casting as modern and creatively bold, but critics immediately accused the film of historical inconsistency and selective realism. Also, the biggest reason people are calling Nolan hypocritical is because of an older comment tied to the film's production choices. Fans pointed out that Nolan reportedly defended certain creative decisions by arguing historical accuracy, particularly claims about not including orchestral elements because orchestras didn't exist in ancient Greece. But that means the people are now asking if historical realism matters enough to affect music and production design, then why suddenly abandon it when it comes to casting? That's the core of the backlash. The weaker side argues the criticism is completely overblown and in some cases clearly rooted in prejudice.
And the way he wants to tell them is incredibly ambitious because he wants to do it all in camera. In this case, he wanted to do it 100% in IMAX, which had never been done. And that wasn't even announced because we didn't know if we could do it.
They say acting is about performance, not strict physical resemblance to historical assumptions. They also point out that Greek mythology has been reinterpreted countless times across centuries, so Nolan has every right to make artistic choices that fit his vision. Some of the fans also think people are unfairly targeting Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page specifically rather than judging the performances once the film actually releases. But the people with brains argue this isn't really about diversity itself, but about consistency. A lot of viewers online are saying Hollywood constantly demands audiences accept creative freedom only when it suits certain decisions, while insisting on strict authenticity for others. For them, Nolan's earlier realism arguments are exactly why the casting choices now feel contradictory. As per their words, he's being a shameless hypocrite. Others simply think Achilles and Helen of Troy are iconic mythological figures with very specific traditional imagery, and dramatically changing that imagery was always going to trigger backlash no matter who directed the film. Plus, because this is Christopher Nolan, expectations are even higher. People see him as someone obsessed with detail, realism, and precision, which is exactly why the criticism is making so much sense. After all, for many fans, this stopped being a casting debate and became a pick-a-lane debate. And now, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's settlement was supposed to end the drama, but it somehow made things worse.
Blake Lively and Wayfair Studios, that is Justin Baldoni's production company, they have officially settled their lawsuit.
After months of lawsuits, online warfare, PR battles, and non-stop internet analysis, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni finally settled their explosive "It Ends With Us" legal fight. The settlement officially avoided a major public trial that was supposed to begin this month, with both sides agreeing to end most of the legal battle tied to allegations surrounding the film's production. Lively had accused Baldoni of sexual harassment and retaliation, while Baldoni countersued for defamation in a lawsuit seeking hundreds of millions of dollars. On paper, the settlement sounded like closure, but in reality, it immediately became another fight. Supporters of Blake Lively are treating the settlement as a major victory, as little sense as it may make. Her legal team publicly argued that Baldoni and his production company backing down from trial and waiving appeals validated her complaints and proved she successfully fought against what they described as retaliatory legal tactics. Others see the situation completely differently. They argue the settlement happened because Lively's side was also facing growing legal pressure after several of her claims were dismissed earlier in the case. Online discussions exploded with people claiming this wasn't a clean victory for either side, but rather two celebrity camps realizing the public trial risked becoming even more damaging. Some critics also accused both teams of turning the legal battle into a public relations war long before it ever reached a courtroom. And now there's another twist. Just hours after the settlement headlines cooled down, new reports revealed a judge rejected Blake Lively's request to submit additional filings tied to ongoing legal fees and damages claims still connected to the case. That instantly reignited debate online because people thought the settlement meant everything was finally over. Apparently not. That's why this story refuses to die. Anyway, most people think Baldoni was unfairly destroyed publicly before the full legal process finished. And finally, Emma Roberts and Evan Peters' reunion reopened. One of Hollywood's most uncomfortable relationship histories. Emma Roberts and Evan Peters appearing on stage together again should have been simple nostalgia for American Horror Story fans. Instead, it reopened years of uncomfortable conversation surrounding one of Hollywood's most turbulent celebrity relationships.
Guys, Dax Holt here. So here's the deal. Emma Roberts was arrested up in Montreal, Canada for a domestic violence incident. She was there with her boyfriend, Evan Peters, from American Horror Stories. They were in their hotel room. Something was going on. Cops were called out.
The former couple had what many described as a visibly tense reunion during Disney's upfront presentation while promoting the newest season of American Horror Story. Observers immediately noticed the awkward body language and physical distance between them on stage. Most notably, people revisited the 2013 domestic violence incident in Montreal, where Roberts was arrested after an altercation that reportedly left Peters with a bloody nose. Peters declined to press charges, and the couple later described the incident as a misunderstanding before continuing their relationship for years afterward. Supporters of Roberts argue the situation has been heavily scrutinized for over a decade already, and that both individuals clearly moved forward with their lives. Others believe the public treats the situation differently because Roberts is a woman. That became a major part of the discussion online again. Critics argued that if the genders had been reversed, the incident would likely still dominate headlines far more aggressively today. At the same time, some viewers felt people were overanalyzing basic awkwardness during a professional appearance. Exes with messy histories standing apart on stage isn't exactly shocking, but critics of Roberts pushed back hard. For them, the reunion reopened unresolved discomfort around how domestic violence cases involving male victims are discussed publicly. Some people argued Hollywood and audiences were too quick to minimize the original incident because of Roberts' image and celebrity status. And that's why this reunion became bigger than just two actors sharing a stage. It turned into another debate about double standards, toxic relationships, and how celebrity culture decides which incidents get remembered seriously and which ones slowly become gossip trivia.